have this kind of turnkey totalitarianism that is waiting there in the wings, where if a bad dictator took over, now they got AI, GPS that's following you everywhere. Even your cell phone is listening to your conversations and recording them and knows everything about you. All of us have this experience. I was talking to my wife that we need a new mattress, and both of us got in bed at night, and both of us got 3 mattress ads on our phones the next morning. So, and it's not just the mattress company is listening to you, it's the NSA who is storing all these conversations. So it is terrifying, but I think if we get smart people in a room like Elon, there are things that we can do to at least mitigate the intrusive impacts and the controlling capacity of this new surveillance technology.
We play clips of all the politicians on my show, obviously, and I always find in the few moments, and I can get it with you and I can get it with DeSantis, where it's like, oh, there's somebody that's telling the truth, and when you hear the truth, you're not contorted, you're not twisted. It's easy to hear the truth, and everything you just said there was true. And unfortunately, we now know with the algorithms of TikTok and everything else, they've brainwashed a generation not to believe any of that. But what it was making me think as you were talking about the history, because I don't know how many people we can win over the history. Maybe there's something else we can win them over with. Can you talk about why you think it matters? Israel may matter to some of these people who are Jewish here, but why does it matter for America and Americans? Because I also see another version right now of sort of the libertarian version of, oh, just forget that land, forget all that, it has nothing to do with America. I personally see it very differently. I'm wondering what you think about that.
Yeah, my philosophy with America is that we need to unravel the empire. So we have 800 bases abroad. We pay 10 times for our military. We pay more for our military than the next 10 nations combined. Oh, we can cut our military expenditure in half from it's now 1.3 trillion if you include the national security expenses, USAID and the National Endowment for Democracies, which my uncle started them. I will end them because they are completely perverted what they've become. They don't do anything good for our country. But I'm going to cut our military budget substantially down to $500 billion, which is the same that it was during the height of the Cold War, when Eisenhower in '61 was in there. And what we need to do is arm ourselves to the teeth at home. We can protect our borders, make ourselves too expensive to ever invade, and then protect the sea lanes, protect the neutral areas like the Arctic, and make sure that we have the resources that are critical to us, including the oil resources that are critical to the world, that we have a strike capacity to make sure to be able to protect those. And Israel is critical. And the reason it's critical is because it's a bulwark for us in the Mideast. It's almost like having an aircraft carrier in the Mideast. It's our oldest ally. It's been our ally for 75 years. It has been an incredible ally for us in terms of the technology, the exchange. And, in building the Iron Dome, which we've paid a lot for, has also taught us enormously about how to defend ourselves at home from missiles. So those military expenditures are all going, 75% of it goes to U.S. companies under the agreement, under the MOU. But if you look at what's happening in the Mideast now, Iran is now the closest allies to Iran are Russia and China. Iran also controls all of Venezuela's oil. Hezbollah is in Venezuela. They have propped up the Maduro regime, and so they control that oil supply. BRICS, Saudi Arabia is now joining BRICS. So those countries will control 90% of the oil in the world. If Israel disappears, the vacuum in the Mideast, which is, Israel is our ambassador, it's our presence, our beachhead in the Mideast, and it gives us ears and eyes in the Mideast. It gives us intelligence. It gives us the capacity to to influence affairs in the Mideast. If Israel disappeared, Russia and China would be controlling the Mideast, and they control 90% of the world's oil supply, and that would be cataclysmic for U.S. national security. So that's the answer to you.
Why don't we hit one more topic, and then I think we're going to take a couple questions from you guys. You mentioned a little bit in your talk about big tech, and you've been fighting big tech as hard as anybody for quite some time. Do you ever feel that we're too deep in it now, in some ways, to reverse some of the effect of the censorship and what we learned from the Twitter files and the algorithmic tricks that we know of? But as I always say, I'm more worried about the ones that I don't know of, and how they might be shadow banning you at this very moment, and how much the agencies are still probably entangled. And even Elon has said he thinks he might have moles still at Twitter, even now. Do you really see a way out of that juggernaut?
I think
it's so ubiquitous.
I think it's very dangerous, and you know what? We can't really afford to be at war right now with Russia, and in these kind of conflicts with China and even Iran. We need to be sitting down with each other and figuring out how to control AI, and we cannot chase AI out of this country. We cannot make this a hostile environment for AI because superintelligence is coming. It's terrifying. But we better have it better here than anybody else if we want to protect our national security, because we don't. We're going to be owned by somebody else. Whoever controls that superintelligence is going to control the world, and humanity may not be able to control it for long. We have this kind of turnkey totalitarianism that is waiting there in the wings, where if a bad dictator took over, now they got AI, GPS that's following you everywhere. Even your cell phone is listening to your conversations and recording them and knows everything about you. All of us have this experience. I was talking to my wife that we need a new mattress, and both of us got, in bed at night, and both of us got 3 mattress ads on our phones the next morning. So, and it's not just the mattress company who's listening to you. It's the NSA who is storing all these conversations. So it is terrifying, but I think if we get smart people in a room like Elon, there are things that we can do to at least mitigate the intrusive impacts and the controlling capacity of this new surveillance technology. I had dinner with Jack Dorsey the other night, and I asked him that very question. How would he control it? And what he said to me is, you need to have absolutely transparent algorithms, and we need to give people the choice about what their algorithm is and make it completely transparent. So if you want to have a Republican algorithm, you can have that. If you want to have a Democratic algorithm, you choose it yourself. If you want to have an algorithm that just is neutral and produces the most read news or science news, whatever, you choose it, and you know what it says, and you know what it's going to do. That makes it much more difficult for them to manipulate you. We're now all being manipulated. We're all being manipulated by algorithms that we don't understand. And right now the algorithms have nefarious objectives. So they have an agenda, and the agenda may be just to keep you interested, to keep your eyeballs on the site. That's the least sinister agenda, but it's very sinister because, as we know, the way that you keep people on the site is by reinforcing their biases and their prejudices, and that amplifies the polarization that is now tearing our country apart. If you and I are living right next door to each other, and you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat, we both ask the same question on Google, we're going to get entirely different results, because the Google algorithm is sending us things that it thinks are going to hold us on the site. And as it turns out, people like reading things that reinforce their existing prejudices and their existing biases, their existing worldviews. And then you've got all these other people, the intelligence agencies, who are now designing the algorithms that are manipulating us, and saying, you can't see this information. We don't want you to see this. we want you to believe this, and those things are really sinister. So what Dorsey said is that the best solution to that is to have us able to choose our own algorithms. And that way, at least we know how we're being manipulated. We're manipulating ourselves rather than having some, nefarious group manipulate us. And I said, that's a brilliant solution. Why don't you tell Congress about it? And he said, I've testified 5 times before Congress, and I've said the same thing every time, and it doesn't make a ripple. So anyway, if I get in there, I'm going to do that stuff.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop screaming, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist, all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.